Hello and welcome to the Bee Formless Flow Driven CEO slash VC podcast today. I will say today because I have Viktor Orlovski. Welcome to the show, Victor, all the way from California. Welcome.
Hi, B. Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
how are you?
I'm good, thank you. All good. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lovely Monday evening here.
Yeah, I was just saying I feel very lucky that I'm talking to you on a Monday at 5 p.m. Because generally after a long day on a Monday, end of the weekend, it's like, it's time to chill. But so we'll get right on into it. But super thrilled and excited to be talking to you because it sounds like from what I've researched and just the conversation we've just briefly had now, you're making a huge impact and reshaping what is VC looking like into the future. And you're the founder and managing partner of R136, and which is a global venture capital firm, and where you can connect Silicon Valley innovation with the international markets. You've got a career spanning over 2 decades in banking, fintech, and technology investment. And Victor, you've been at the forefront of a digital transformation for some of the world's largest financial institutions, including serving as Chief Transformation Officer at SBER Bank. I don't think I got that right, as in terms of how I pronounced it, but you can.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah.
And at R136 Ventures, you invest in early and growth stage companies. And I love this bit. You combine technology excellence with this long-term societal impact. And that's what I was talking about at the start just then, that the fact that it's purpose-driven, it's making this long-term societal impact for good, not for bad. You're an author, a speaker, and thought leader. And you champion this integration of human-centric leadership, future-focused strategy, and cutting-edge tech as essential drivers for sustainable growth. Tell us a bit about your journey because you've also, you're relatively new to living in California by the sounds of things as well, based on where where you've grown up in the Soviet Union. So tell us about your journey.
Well, thanks, B. And I think that almost everything you said is indeed like very close to reality. And I will start with like a little bit of description of what the venture capital is. I think that you may say that capital in general is a fuel of capitalist economy. And obviously, if there was no capital, there was no credit, there was no equity, we wouldn't see the world today as innovative as technologically driven as it is. But if you think of like venture capital, it's like the new edge of this, innovation and technology. And if you think of like United States progress in technology and innovation, or Chinese progress in technology and innovation, this is all driven by venture capital. And venture capital is a very tiny piece of overall capital. You may think of like the US venture industry being like less than $1 trillion overall. If you think of like capital markets, like public markets, equity would be like 60, whatever, 70 billion, sorry,
Yeah.
$1 trillion, right?
Yeah.
If you think of like debt market, this would just be another like hundreds of $1 trillion, right? Including fixed income. You think of like a real estate market, that would just be like hundreds of trillions of dollars. And venture market is very tiny. It's only like $1 trillion or less.
Wow.
So, but if you think of impact, like every second company that went public in the United States within the last 25, 30 years had a piece of a venture capital in its capital, right? So without the venture capital, these companies wouldn't have existed. And you think of Apple, you think of Microsoft, Oracle, Tesla, Nvidia, name it, right? I mean, every company I mentioned, and by the way, Starbucks is not an exclusion, had venture capital in its first seeded capital, right?
Yeah.
And that's how big this capital is, like how much is this capital is impacting
Yeah.
overall technology and society. So I was really fascinated with that, and I learned through my corporate career. back in my corporate days, and well, I spent like 22 years by building technology for large companies. So I was like an executive employee. I started as a software engineer in very remote place, almost like in the middle of nowhere. You may think of a small state in Central Asia. I was born and raised in Uzbekistan, Tashkent,
Yeah.
which was former Soviet like state. So I really was fascinated with technology, and I was just building innovation in large organizations. But then I just, after a while, after like being so long in corporate world, I understood that innovation is not happening indeed in whatever great organization. I mean, whatever big organization you think of, I mean, it is not capable of doing innovation because innovation is like putting all eggs into unknown into one basket and doing something what like is completely strange, is a completely unknown thing, right?
Yeah, I love that.
And yeah, and well, innovation is about 99 or even 999 times to be wrong and only once to be right. So you can't imagine like a corporation, like big company, to be 99 times
Wrong.
uh, wrong, right? And only once right. You can't imagine manager in the corporation that would be like 99 times wrong out of 100 decisions he or she makes, right? And that's the reason why innovation is not sustainable, is not happening in large organizations. If you take your iPhone, you would find like hundreds, if not thousands, of different companies that Apple bought to actually build iPhone, starting
Mm.
from Siri and iTunes, ending up with a bunch of like hardware and software tools. It's all assembled by buying companies and integrating these companies and technologies into what we know Apple and what we know iPhone. So I believe that the entire innovation is not happening in large organizations. And that's the reason why I decided to invest in venture and to spend my time and my life building up companies alongside with great founders. It's just because that's where the innovation culture exists and that's where innovation is going on, right? So, and that's the reason why I'm here in Silicon Valley. You said right, I'm like a very new freshman in Silicon Valley. But the truth is that every second person here, if not more, is like me, right? It's like the first generation of immigrants who come here and build companies or build venture firms or teach in like great colleges like UC Berkeley or Stanford. So why I like this place is that it's a true mixture of the entire world. So if you look into like a schools here, you would find like more or less 60% of kids in the school being like Asian, Indian, or Chinese,
But
Philippines,
diverse.
or whatever. And the diversity is like that. What if you just mix up the whole world? That the diversity you will get, right? There will be
Yeah.
like more or less 60% of Asians. So, but what is true about this place in that is like everybody's broken here. So that's the place where you never feel like an immigrant, like a foreigner. It's the place where color of like your color, your whatever, your accent doesn't matter, right? What matters is your passion
Anyway.
and how people measure success here. I really like that a lot. So success here is not what you achieve. Success here is the ambitions you have and the attitude with which you kind of pursue this ambition. So if you imagine like a huge hill, so it's not where you are on the hill, it's the how far peak is from you, like how big is this peak of ambitions. And if even you are at the very beginning of your journey, you are more successful than the person who is standing on a smaller hill, who achieved what he wanted, but his ambitions were not big enough. So I think that that's the spirit of the place, but that's also the spirit of the venture business, right? As I said, you put all eggs into one uh, basket, and then you hope that you will succeed with that by building up something great.
I
So
love.
That's
I love
exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah, I love your journey and I love your story. Can I ask a question in terms of like you're in the corporate space, in the corporate world. Was there one defining moment or point where you were just like, I'm done with this and I want to move now into the venture capital space? Or was it just that, back to what you were saying around the innovation and not feeling like you had the freedom, if you like, to be as innovative as you could be? Was there something that shifted or changed for you where you were just like, I'm done? If you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think that was like a chain of events. So I think I was lucky to like, even though I was working for like large corporate customers, I was like an employee mostly in banking, technology in banking. I was lucky enough to be in the environment which was like not a status quo, that everything and everybody was just building from scratch. So I started my career in late 90s in well, first Uzbekistan, and I moved to Russia, where like everything was like didn't exist really. So there was no like legacy being built so far. So all these like new companies were like evolving and discovering what and how things to be done. So I think it was 2001 or 2002 when we decided like building up a bank for mobile customers. And the only reason why we thought of like mobile customers, so customers who had mobile phones, and it was obviously prior to iPhone era. So these were like these Nokias and Motorola's like featured phones. We thought, okay, I mean, we want to build like a bank for affluent customers. And how can we distinguish like a regular customer and an affluent customer? We thought that a mobile phone in a pocket, and back in 2001, mobile phone was like a very prestigious tool, right? No, not everybody had it in their pockets. So why won't we just create a bank for customers who have only those who have mobile phones can go and open account? How can we check that these customers have mobile phones? Or we will ask the mobile number, and then we will send like a text, and then with a code, and then you reply with a code, and that's how we know the number, and we know this person actually has a phone, right? So we are welcoming only those who have featured phones. But then we started like elaborating like a special language in the text. So you can actually speak to the bank, you can wire money. So if I know your phone number, I can just put like a text message. So a B, then dollars or rubles or whatever, and then a command. And then money will be sent from like my phone to your phone.
Yeah, right.
Originally, it goes like from account to account. But imagine that this was like prior to iPhones. But then what happened is like explosion of mobile phones. Nobody, and I didn't think that everybody would ever have like phone in the pocket. So
Yeah.
in 2 years, we scaled this business from like 0 to 1 million consumers. And
Wow.
can you imagine prior to iPhone era, we got a bank which had over 1 million consumers in mobile space. And it was unprecedented, right? And I may think of like I created the first mobile bank ever in the
Wow.
world. But
Wow.
the intention was not to innovate. The intention was to build something for affluent customers. It just happened to be that this was like a new type of banking. So, uh, answering your question, when I decided to like enough is enough, I started 2008. I started working for a bank, which was a SBR, which was a giant bank. I started under authority of very special man who was appointed as CEO, and I was like still a very young person back then. I was like 33, and this bank was a giant bank. It was like size of Bank of America or Bank of China, but it was like technology was like almost didn't exist there. It was
Wow.
like a former Soviet style bank, which was considered to be a victim by all other banks on the market, which was like losing market share, losing customers, losing business, losing money. And the aim was to like convert it into some like cutting edge technology. So what we started building from scratch is like cutting edge technology, and I was lucky because 2008, like everybody already had all this technology built. So we started building from zero, and
Was
we built
this?
really like something. Yeah, it was like we built something really fascinating. So in 2014, we were bigger in digital footprint than Bank of America, Chase, and Citi combined in the United States. We had an astonishing number of 45 million daily active consumers transacting in the digital space.
Jeez.
And in 2014, it was like something really unseen before, right? At that scale. Probably we were the largest digital bank outside of China back then in the world. This bank started making like tens of billions of dollars of net profits, extremely profitable exercise. So, and I was CTO. Again, I was not like number one. Of course, CEO was like number one, and he really made this journey. So I was like part of his team. But I thought, what else I can do, right? I mean, I already kind of built this technology for like largest bank. What else I can do in corporate world? So there was nothing what would like excite me. So I decided, and back then I already started thinking about like a true innovation. Did I mean, was it like what we did in like 2001 with this mobile bank? Was it true innovation? Maybe. Was it something what we did in 2008, 2014 for SBR? Was it true innovation? There were a bunch of really true innovative technologies, but it's like still like one company, right? So how else can I expand my knowledge and my ability to connect dots, right?
Yeah.
I thought that venture is something where I can help other entrepreneurs to build. And I'm thinking of my business as not investing, right? We are not investors, we are builders, right? When I put money into someone, I help someone to build up companies because we invest early enough. We invest in the attempt of building something great, but we also are helping our customers or our partners, CEOs and founders to build those great companies. So my work is not only to put money and pray. When you just go invest into stock, like public stock, you can't help Apple, you can't
Yeah.
help Tesla,
No,
you can't help Google, right?
that's a really
You
good
just
point.
invest because you think that other people are good enough to just build it and make money for you. Here, you only think about like yourself. You invest and then you work hard to deliver. So in that, where I see like this value of this venture capital, it's not only finding the right teams, finding the right ideas, but it's also helping those people to survive through extremely difficult and challenging journey. Because these investments are usually like 6 to 10 years long, right? You invest and then you just go through the journey. And these journeys are not pleasant journeys. As we call, like every startup has to go through this, its own like death valley, right?
Yeah, I've
And
heard about
I
this Death
really,
Valley. I'm like,
yeah,
and it's non-linear. It's a non-linear journey, right? It's not
absolutely not.
A
Absolutely
to
not.
B. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I can tell you tons of stories from my own experience, but I really like the quote from Jensen Huang, who is CEO and founder of NVIDIA, when he was asked like a few years ago, he was asked about his like journey of like 30 years in NVIDIA. He said that if somebody would tell him 30 years ago how much like challenges and how many challenges and troubles would he get through this journey, he would never agree to start, even knowing what the result is going to be, right? So even knowing you are going to be the like biggest company in the world, still like going through this.
Hell, yes.
So
That's
and
Death
how
Valley.
you may imagine how difficult it is to go through all this without like knowing that you will succeed finally, right? And I saw like so many like extreme examples when founders really built something really awesome, but they didn't really make a good commercial returns because how our business works that when venture capital puts money, they demand returns, right?
Yeah.
So say you started a startup, so say 10 years ago. So in 10 years, you say raised like $1 billion, and then you build a company which is worth of like $1 billion, right? And then you sell this company to some other firm for like $1 billion. So you may think that founder has made a fortune, but that's not true, right? Founder did like make nothing, right? Why? Because he got like $1 billion investment, so investors demand
A
money
return.
back
Yeah.
before founder can make a penny, right? And if founder has put like $1 billion in business and only returns say $1 billion in return when company is sold, founder has made 10 years for nothing. He hasn't made any dollar so far, right? And this is like an extremely difficult math, right?
So how does
And
that
it's just
change
like
though, Victor? Like how is that like is that does that model change ever? Like is there like it's like or is it just the way it is? Like is that just the reality of VC? Do you
there
know
are, yeah, there are a few changes. I may say, for example, I mean, just an example of like big tech. So big tech is now trying to punish investors. So say investors like have certain rights in the company and say you are like a big tech, Google or Nvidia acquiring company. Then you can say to company and investors, I'm gonna buy this company, but I'm not gonna pay investors. I want to pay more founders, right? So they try to incentivize founders to see those like large companies, large big tech companies as good acquirers, right? So
what
how can I build up my name as a good acquirer? I will diminish the role of investors and I will accelerate, amplify the role of founders. So I will tell the company, no way. I mean, your capital table, as we call it, your kind of allocations are not good for me, right? I want founders to receive more money instead of you investors to receive more. So some acquirers are playing around this, but generally speaking, I believe that founder's job is crazy difficult, it's crazy risky, and that's the reason why there are not so many, as we call it, serial founders, right? The one who repeat their business, like they started company, sold company, and then they started another company and then sold company, and that like 3 or 4 times. It's a very rare example. Usually, if founder made money, if founder is successful, he's not going to start a new company. And the true reason is, look, so most of them, right? I mean, say out of 10 successful companies, only 2 or 3 will start second company. And I'm talking about successful founders. 7 out of 10 are not going to go, right? Why? Just because they are scared. I mean, even they don't speak about that openly. They know how difficult was it. So they know all these like moments when company was supposed to kind of die and it didn't because something incredible happened, right? So you were like hitting the wall next day. You knew that you could not pay salaries, and then some miracle happened. Somebody gave you like another like $50,000 to stay, or you got a contract, or you got something else. So founders are full of the stories when they were at a tipping point of like no return. Tomorrow business is over, and then something is happening today. What saves their business, and then they recover and become great.
Yeah, it's fascinating, isn't it?
It's
It's like
like
it's like the
so many
belief.
stories you can't imagine. Even
Yeah.
like in my short history of being a venture capital, I had companies that pivoted from like incredibly difficult situations and uh, uh, ended up like as a great investment and great returns for both founders and investors.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting journey
Yeah, which
indeed.
takes me to when you booked in for the pod, and I was asking around what's one, unique experience or insight when it comes to life leadership, business, investing, and you said, which is also fascinating, but you said you don't learn while winning, only failures, although they are painful, make you stronger and a wiser self. Right self-reflections and lessons learned from failures are the keys to success. This is the most difficult lesson to learn. Could not agree more with you. I've had a few cases like that in my life. They were painful, but from distance, I must admit they were very useful. Although I doubt I would want to repeat it. I loved reading this because I so related, and I think so many people in life, in business, as leaders, can relate to this. And I guess it comes back to that, what you were talking about at the start and the definition of success and ambition. Can you share a little bit about this point? Because it's very poignant in terms of what we're talking about today. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think I can remember a couple of those like anecdotal stories. One of those happened to me in like 2012. We were in the middle of scaled uh, implementation deployment of our like core banking solution across the bank, and I wanted to like complete this kind of deployment across like 20,000 branches. You can imagine how big it is. Like, I mean, it was like a scaled bank, really. And we were like going to complete it by the year end 2012. And we only had like a few months to go. And we had to like take like really very risky decisions because system wasn't stable. And my risk managers, my kind of security guys, high profile engineers were coming to me saying, look, Victor, I mean, everyone is exhausted. Everyone is like damn tired. And we are kind of not able to like
Keep going.
guarantee, guarantee like that the system is gonna like survive and like be okay. And we were serving like millions and millions of consumers. And I was like insisting, saying, no, no, we have to go. It was like, okay, like let's push it again and again beyond the limit. And then one day, like system crashed, and it crashed in a way that was completely unpredictable what to do. So we spoke to like the different engineers, and one of the engineer whom I trusted the most, like one of, I was like a team of 20,000 engineers, right? It was a like crowded team, and he told me what like, and the system was kind of like completely off. So can you imagine you go to like the gas station, you fueled your tank, and then you could not pay your bill because cards are not operational, and we serve like 50%
Whoa.
of all gas stations in the
Crazy.
country. And people started calling, not calling the bank, but calling media, and media was starting, okay, what's going
Oh my
on?
God.
Like what a big
I
disaster,
shouldn't
right?
laugh at
And
humans.
and I just had like a screen in my office, and that was like post, not only like social media, but like real like TV channels were just talking about this incident. Nobody really knew what's going on. And this engineer came to me with a plan. He said, we need to do this and this and this. And then hundreds of people who reported to me that back then and who were like in this like incident discussion, they said, no way we can do it because if it doesn't work, we'll crash things completely. So we're not going to recover in like a week. If he is he's right, then yes, we will queue and recover. But if it fails, this command, this chain of commands, will completely crash out the system. And I was the one to decide. So they said, give us 4 hours. We will recover. We will restore. We will have all these transactions somehow captured. That we don't have 4 hours because in 4 hours, I mean, we'll be completely dead. Uh, so, and I was just sitting for like a few minutes and I was unable to make a decision, right? What to do. And then I said, well, I was just risking after risking after risking. And I got to this very point and it was my responsibility what happened, right? I was like taking the full responsibility. Now, should I continue to risk or should I pull back?
What did you do?
And I continued to risk. I said, Alex, that was the guy, push a button. And he said, are you sure? You know the risk. I said, yeah, I mean, we already have taken so much risk. If we take another one, let's go. And then it worked out. Like in minutes, we had like system
Oh my
restored.
gosh, I love that. Was
Yeah, and
that
it was kind of like, okay. So it was like, I was lucky. I know. I mean, nobody really would have predicted what would happen, but I'm just thinking, okay, I mean, you have to take the risk, right? I mean, even like being in the corporate world, like risk is unavoidable. So sometimes it's not calculated risk. I think that the learning was that well, basically, you have to listen to your team early enough, right? But when it's like too late, you should listen to your heart
yeah, I was about to say
and
that's what I was going
to
to ask
your
you.
intuition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to ask you. That would have been gut, intuition, instinct saying to you, do this. Like surely was that your, do you feel like that was your heart, your intuition that
No,
did?
it was an intuition of a manager, I think. Yeah, and I thought of this person. You know, I had like a bunch of people in my team when I was like heading the engineering teams. I had like engineers that were doing like literally nothing for weeks or months. Right? I mean, I did bother them to like do work, but when it came to like this completely crazy thing, right? Like crazy problems and solutions to find, they were the best. So they were not the best to deliver. They were best in this crisis management. So I knew that this guy, Alex, is the crisis manager. So I really valued him for this. I mean, his job was to make two or three kind of um, um, like cases a year. And that was one of the cases. So I thought, okay, I mean, this guy knows what
He's
he's
doing?
advising, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, in a way, you need to trust people.
yeah, I
One
love it. And
versus
I,
100.
yeah, and it's like you were in the present moment. You made that decision in the very present moment. You had all these people going, if you do this, you basically, from what it sounds like, eliminated all that white noise, had a few minutes to make the decision, sat with it, let what was coming up from you from within, and that was when you made the decision. And I think that that for me is when you make the best decisions because you're just like, I've just got to pause for a second and I've actually just got to let something, what am I being told? And that comes from the inside. It doesn't come from the outside. And I think we quite often mistake the outside, what's the word I'm looking for? The outside, what people tell you to do versus what you intuitively know is the right answer, even when people think you're effing crazy and like, what is he doing? He's about to blow this up. But actually, you didn't blow it up. You
Yeah.
pivot and you win again, you know? Mm.
I think also I can maybe give like a little bit more of like reflection and example of what I learned through this. Um, uh, and obviously when the disaster happened, well, I gave a call to my like CEO, and he was already like informed, of course, because he was watching TV, and he was watching all this like bad news about his company, right? And it was like a big deal. And I called him. I said, Herman, Mr. Graf, his like last name. I said, I must resign now. I just did this awful thing. What happened? He said, shut up. Shut up. What are you thinking about? I mean, just go and solve the problem. I mean, now you're thinking about your future. I mean, I mean, is like your future important? I mean, just do your work. And he just pushed me back to like this, like this is your responsibility. Just don't think about how would you resign or how would you just be blaming yourself. I mean, just doing like you are the only guy who knows
Yeah,
has a
so
clue
cool. Yeah.
what's going on, right? He was not like screaming on me, blaming me. He was like, just go and do your work, right? That's your thing. It's your ship. I mean, don't let it go, right? You should like
Course correct.
don't, yeah, you should just keep going, right? And that was kind of and actually I was learning from him how to react to this kind of a very kind of bold issues. Yeah, you just simply like go and solve the problem, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it. I've had a very, very, very minor situation, but I did it well. Like I did it with once with a I remember with a client that was just had this real issue with women. And I just stood up to him one day. He was treating me and berating me over this estimate, this invoice. And I just was like, I refuse to be spoken to like this. And I remember walking out the door, calling the partners because he got so angry at me for actually telling him to not talk to me this way. And I rang the partners saying, I think that I've potentially lost us this client. And they said the same thing, get on with your work. Don't
Mhm,
like, what are you talking about?
mhm.
And and it changed the relationship actually changed because it was a decision he made that sort of backfired. But I mean, obviously very
Yeah,
different to what we're talking about here. I've got two quick last questions for you.
absolutely.
I feel like
Sure.
we could keep talking. I just wanted to understand a little bit more around this long-term societal impact and what your intention is around that when it comes to R136 and the businesses that you're building, you're working with. Can you just elaborate a little bit on that? Because I think we need to hear more of that coming out of the VC, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it's a great question, B. I would start with maybe like, I mean, the most fascinating thing which is happening now is this artificial intelligence,
Of
right? And
course.
many
Yeah.
people are like very scared and like afraid of AI, afraid of like AI taking their jobs, afraid of AI replacing their like existing relationship, way of life, or even like bigger threats, right? Like it may come to like uh, elimination of the mankind of like humanity as such. I think that all this is like legitimate, and you may think of that this way, but like being a venture capitalist and investing in this kind of stuff, I do believe that uh, it's not the way it's gonna like go, and it's not the way like the future would look like this, total disaster, like Terminator
Yeah, I
type,
agree.
you know,
Thank
yeah.
goodness.
I actually watched both like first and second episodes of Terminator. It was like funny really to see what, and if
Yeah, I
you
need to watch
recall, I
it.
mean, they always like, I mean, this like uh um future man is are coming to this 1984 whatever from 2029, and we watched this like back in the 80s and 90s. We really thought that it's like a completely like a fantastic thing. No, never happened. Now you think of like it's like very close to
Yeah,
true, right? I mean, there will
100%.
be robots like that in
Yeah,
2029. But my understanding of what is going on is different. I think that it will have a huge impact on every person, on every member of society, on every job, but not in a negative, right? It will eliminate hundreds, thousands, millions of jobs, but it will create hundreds of millions of jobs, new jobs for all of us, and especially the work related to creativity, the work which we love the most will still be there, right?
agreed.
So at the end of the day, what will be eliminated is like a lot of stuff which we do not like doing. And I think that we will be living in like an unprecedented uh, like world of true innovation, which will be happening at a scale which we never saw before. But also, I think that it will bring more equality. It will bring more transparency and wise to everything human beings are suffering from now. So uh, being a venture capitalist, you need to be like an optimist, right? Because if you're not optimist, how you may think of like something what you invest into today will become like a great thing in 10 years, right? I mean, if you are kind of pessimist, you think that the world will collapse, and I mean, you're not going to invest into the long term, right? So obviously, everyone who is in this business have to like show a kind of an optimism. But I really thought a lot about AI and like the ways AI can develop. So I think that even we get to this AGI level where like it's like human, like superhuman intelligence, we will find more a partner, a friend, and a supporter, a co-pilot for us to really go through this journey, right? Rather than just this Terminator kind of things where
Yeah, such a
AI will make like numerous attempts to actually um, shut us down, right? So I don't think that this scenario is a suitable scenario. What I might be afraid of most is that some people will have an attempt to use AI in a like not a
evil way.
proper way, but
Yeah,
yeah, into evil way, but not definitely not AI itself. I think that
no, I'm with you.
since we as humans, I mean, it's even the word human or humanity is like all about being like wise and kind, right? Yeah, I believe that super humanity could only be human first and then everything else. So it will treat us with love and with the care, I think.
Yeah. Oh my God, I could
So
ask you
don't be
so
afraid.
many. Yeah, thank you. I could ask you so many final questions, and I had one, but I'm actually just going to throw this because you've just talked about AI and tech. I was actually going to ask you, what do you do to switch off? How do you keep your cup full? But I now want to ask you, and you can answer both, but I'm very conscious of your time. But you must be seeing so much incredible tech innovation coming out of Silicon Valley. Like, what do you see as like the next big, I mean, obviously AI is here, but like this is probably too broad a question to answer, but what do you see as the next big piece of innovation? Like, what's next?
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, I can tell you what's next. I mean, that's obvious, right? So we as like species, if you will, intelligent species and conscious species, we have two kind of axes to develop. One is energy and another is compute. And there will be more and more free or uh, very uh, very cheap energy coming with fusion,
yeah,
renewable energy, whatever it is. So it will be tons of different energy, like ways to extract the energy from nature. And like compute with all this quantum compute will increase thousands, millions, billions, trillions of fold. So with that, what is coming? I mean, obviously, like in 10, 20 years, maybe 30 years, there will be a bunch of like breakthroughs. First breakthrough is that people are not gonna create uh, value, right? I mean, value will be created by robots. It means that GDP growth will be not per like capita, like people, but per robots. And we will enter into the era where like GDP growth of 20, 30, 50% a year will be like ordinary. Second is that compute and like energy will be almost like I mean, there will be extensive compute and almost like zero cost of energy at some point, and it will like bring humanity into completely different survival modes. I mean, we will not be living in a survival mode anymore, right?
yes to that. Yes to
It will be like a true flourishing. And the last is that there will be like immersive worlds created, so we will be living and I mean, the true life will not be happening into what we consider to be a real world today. The true life of like every one of us will be happening in the virtual worlds. So what Meta was coming with, like metaverse, will come true, right? Meta has put a lot of energy and money into this. It didn't happen because it was like a failed start. It was
Yeah,
too early. But
yeah.
in next generation of this virtual worlds, will be like a completely different, like immersive. So our kids, our grandkids will not be living into like real worlds as we know them now. They will be living into like virtual worlds. So all their like life, entire life, like cycle will be happening into some immersive worlds rather than just a real world. And this will be all computed and powered by like enormous energy and enormous compute power by like new generation of computers and electric grids. I believe that's the way I think of like a future in 50 years. Yeah, and I believe really that there is already a person who is born today who will live through 1,000 years. I don't know if there's like immortality, like a complete immortality, but 1,000 years. I predict that there is already a person today who is already born who is gonna live through 1,000.
Would you say who that is,
That's the
or you're just saying that there is a
uh,
person out there?
I mean, someone. I don't know exactly, but there will be like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
many people.
interesting.
But what I'm saying that this generation, immortal generation, is already there, right?
Yes.
So I think that if you think of like my kind of, I mean, the way I think about that, I mean, you can just refer to David Deutsch, who is the founder of quantum compute and one of the genius uh, genius people who like brought all this together. He has written a book a while ago, which is called "The Beginning of Infinity." So he's saying that everything, whatever from physical reality, whatever is solvable, will be solved, right? Because there will be, I mean, if physical laws allow it to be solved, it will be solved, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I'm going to
every
read
problem
that.
we have on the earth, it's gonna be solved because physical laws do allow it to be solved, right? So humanity will find a way to solve.
Oh, I love
So
it.
I'm a big believer in humanity
No,
as
thank
system.
you, Victor. You're incredible. How do we find out more about your books? How do we find out more about you? Where's the best place to? I've got all your note. Like I've got you on LinkedIn. I've got your website. Mm.
Well, if you want to read about innovation and technology and how difficult it is to build innovation in large organizations and what you need to do to achieve that, you may read my book, which I wrote in 2020, and it became a Wall Street Journal bestseller called From Rhino to Unicorn. Otherwise, read my posts, listen to our podcast, Ventures from the Valley, where we interview our founders, venture partners, and beyond. And we are talking about like different sectors, different technologies, industries, and etc. So Ventures from the Valley, which is brought to you by R136 Ventures, and I'm hosting it. Yeah, so and LinkedIn, of course. So I'm posting some fun things there time to time.
Thank you, Victor. Incredible. Gosh, could I like I knew we'd probably
Thank you,
talk.
B.
We've talked longer than we were expecting, but it's been a real privilege and joy to chat to you, and I loved every minute of it. So thank you so much.
I enjoyed it too. Thank you
Very
so much, B.
insightful.
Yeah, it was really
No,
awesome to speak to you.
thank you. Have a wonderful evening and an amazing a
You
week ahead.
too.
And yeah, thanks
You
so
too.
much.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me know when it goes live so I will
Yep,
repost it.
absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome.